Alright, so I hadn't really planned on making this video or releasing this video. The stuff we're going to talk about today honestly doesn't affect me at all. I don't hunt Iowa. I've never put in even for a point in Iowa. I'd love to someday, but I haven't yet. I don't have any plans to. It's just too hard with the logistics of work and everything and kids. And so, I mean, it really doesn't affect me any more than I see this kind of as a virus or a cancer that's kind of taken over the country and the industry itself. And at some point, somebody needs to just be like, hey, let's slow down, let's look at data, and let's just stop reacting because the squeaky wheel of, you know, maybe hunters or maybe anti-hunters or old school guys or whatever, because they're, you know, beating the horn and sounding the alarms when maybe they shouldn't be. So I've listened to a couple different podcasts, Wired to Hunt and Nine Finger Chronicles. Both of them talked a little bit about the Iowa cell cam ban, which again, doesn't affect me. I don't hunt in Iowa. And they talked about, you know, Kansas has a similar law, Arizona, and a couple others. I don't know all of them because I don't hunt those places, so I don't know their laws very good. But in essence, the law looks like, and it's not finalized yet, that in Iowa you won't even be able to use cell cameras on private land, which maybe we're just rednecks down here in the South. That flies all over me when they can tell you that. But let's again look at data and not just go to how it makes us feel. So when they were talking about this, the idea was basically that we have an unfair advantage using cell cameras and we're killing too many deer and the deer numbers are getting hurt and anybody can hunt and kill a deer without any effort and yada yada because cell cameras. So, and again, two different podcasts and they all kind of said the same thing. Basically was that, and they weren't necessarily for or against, it was just kind of pros and cons, but you got to think that the anti-cell camera people out there, they're on that same boat of, you know, this is why we don't need cell cameras. Their reasoning is it gives us an unjust fair chase, so that the deer don't have fair chase. You know, my thoughts are, what's fair chase to a deer? Because I don't think a deer would think anything we're doing is fair chase. To them, you know, they're not able to fight back, which, you know, again, I don't have a problem with that, but I'm not the one screaming fair chase. So, you know, a deer doesn't think a 7 mag's fair chase. It doesn't think a crossbow's fair chase. It doesn't think bait piles are fair chase, mock scrapes, none of it. So I have a weird thing with this fair chase and needing to define fair chase. But back to the data. If you look at the numbers, I spent a lot of time compiling this and building charts and graphs on this. The numbers of deer killed and bucks killed have gone down. Bucks killed has gone down slightly. Deer killed has gone down pretty substantially. And you can see when cell cameras, probably I would think the two most popular ones, or at least the two that kind of changed the game throughout the years when they come out. In 2015, the Moultrie Mobile, so you had just a modem that you connected to your Moultrie camera. You know, I know there were cell cameras before this. I had a Covert probably back in 2010 that was crazy expensive, like $400, and to send 500 or 1,000 pictures was like $50. It was crazy. It wasn't realistic. I think the idea here was that the affordability and the availability of cell cameras that like Tacticam, when they came out in 2020 with the Gen 1 at a very affordable price and an affordable data plan, the idea is that that's what created the problem. And if you look, in 2020, the numbers hadn't gone up since 2020. They've stayed the same. They've stayed within a variable degree of difference that doesn't matter, basically, you know, an error. And the number of deer has done the same. It's stayed flat. Bucks have stayed flat. Deer have stayed flat. So in these 4 years or 5 years that just the Tacticam has been out and the big surge of cellular cameras has come out, there's no data that suggests that we need to be banning them, that they're giving anybody an advantage over anything. And if you look at the annual license sold, and there's a lot of different data about license sold, out of state, in state, you know, tags, and when did they switch to these permits, stuff. There's a bunch of different things, but the most consistent thing you can find is that in 2016, since 2016, annual license, so year license, have gone up extremely high. So like nearly 15,000 more license sold in the state of Iowa since 2016. You know, so way more people are hunting and the same amount of deer are getting killed. So the idea that we have this great unfair advantage is not necessarily true. And if it is true, if we are getting this great advantage, it's making us more selective about the deer we shoot, and which is good. That means hopefully the age class is growing, and that's what it should be doing. You're not shooting the first small deer you see because you know there's a bigger deer out there. So I think all of those are good things. I don't know why we're wanting to ban them. So back to, this unfair advantage or this fair chase. Everything again gives us fair chase, whether it be a trail camera or a cellular camera, a food plot, a feeder with corn in it, mock scrapes. I mean, we're taking glands of deer and urine from actual bucks in rut and putting them on scrapes. I mean, that's an unfair advantage. That's not a fair chase. Ozone. No one's calling for the ban of ozone. Our camo that is so much better now than what it used to be. 7 mag. I mean, there's no doubt that a 7 mag is more of an advantage than a bow. A Raven crossbow. A Raven crossbow has killed more deer than I'm sure a cell camera has. All right. I mean, there's just the ability to reach out that far during that early time of the season when they're still on a food to bed pattern. There's just no arguing the fact that a crossbow has probably done more damage than a cell camera, and all of which don't seem to show, based on the data, they're doing a whole lot of anything other than letting us be more selective about the deer we do take. So I just think it's good to have actual information out instead of just going, well, the DNR said we got to do this, so I guess we got to do it. I mean, that doesn't sit right with me, and it doesn't sit right with most of the hunters I know. At some point, we got to tell the DNR, like, look, you work for us, we pay taxes. We need a seat at the table when it comes to discussing these rules and laws. Again, I don't hunt Iowa, I don't live in Iowa, but I see this cancer spreading and this idea spreading, and I think at some point it will come knocking on my door and your door, even if you don't live in Iowa or Kansas or Arizona or Utah or whatever. It's coming for everybody, so I think we need to arm ourselves with some data and some information instead of just going, well, the DNR said we're killing too many deer, so I guess we are. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments, your views on that. Again, this was kind of extra. I didn't plan on doing this, just something I spent some time last night diving into and getting down the rabbit hole. I'm obviously very pro cell cameras. I run a lot of cell cameras. I think they're a great tool. I think it lets me spend more time with my family and not running around checking and pulling cards. So I don't understand why anybody would be against them unless you're just that guy that is old school and doesn't do good with technology, and maybe you're just not good with technology, so you don't want anybody else to have it. I don't know. Let me know in the comments why you're against them, I guess. Appreciate it.